Hey, what's up, YouTube cultivators? Today, what we're going to talk about is these new fancy grow enclosures that have come on the market. They're not so new, but relatively have become very inexpensive. Like this one here, 4x8 iPower mylar lined enclosure. I want to say it was like $190 for a 4x8 grow room. And you know, pretty sturdy material. The zippers are pretty awesome. Now the one tricky thing is the instructions when you put this thing together. They're not too clear. Actually, there was no instructions for the 4x8. You pretty much had to apply what they told you about the 4x4 and apply it to the 4x8. So break it down for us a little bit, like how once we had the frame assembled, how we actually got the frame wrapped.
Right. It was tough. What you're going to find is the amount of fabric that you get out of this box is a lot. It comes packed up in a nice little, it's packaged real nice. It's got a couple of straps to keep it closed. And it's roughly 40 to 50 pounds, but it's a lot of fabric. So you just got to lay this thing down, find a part in the cloth where the zipper ends, you know, where there's a seam that all parts of the fabric are connected. Once you built your frame, kind of tuck it on that side, and then just fold the rest of the material all the way around your frame, and then you'll see where the zippers line up at the edge of the frame, and just, you know, you'll find each zipper for the roof and the floor.
Right, like with the 4x8, what we found was the flap, as it were, which was the actual roof, was once we laid it all out, we found that the back windows and the roof were attached. So we laid the frame down on its back, on the back wall, and then flapped the roof up, and then tucked the entire frame into the roof.
Exactly.
And then we had something to hang, and hang the rest from, and then we just went around zipping it all up.
Right.
What we'll do now is we're going to take a closer look at the zipper that goes along the top. We're going to get this thing opened up, and we're going to talk about like the ventilation, the different sizes of the ceiling vents, the horizontal, the rectangle vents on the bottom, all that good stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up all the zippers so you can kind of see. Now, some of the things that you might hear and read on these Amazon reviews is like how cheap and chintzy the zippers are. Now, I will admit, when we first got our zippers, they looked like they were busted. They were both closed, and the flap was flapping around. But we just found that you take them both, open and close them, basically resetting them, and you're good to go. Haven't had an issue since. So we're going to go ahead and open these up, and again, look how easy that is. For the material, how thick it is, and the zippers, pretty nice. You'll see that each door has this neat little hook on it, and there's a hook on the top where you can just hook it while you're working it's out of the way. Now, plenty of room to work. Lots of room for lights. What we're going to do is we're going to establish a light rail in here, maybe some more ventilation once these things start to flower up. But now what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring you guys in, let you take a closer look at the vents, and just kind of go over the different sizes. Not too much left to go over, but yeah, we're going to get you a nice up and close look at it.
This material here, you're going to be real happy with it. We've dragged this net by it, we've had buckets in and out of it, and it's held up beautifully. You'll be happy.
Right. One thing too is it comes with this waterproof tray. Now, in the description, you're thinking, tray, what is that? But it's basically just a fabric, a lined fabric tray, and it holds water. Like, awesome, which helps with the humidity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really does.
So again, we're going to take a closer look. All right, folks. So we're back here. And we're going to stop and start up here in the top left. These top vents on the side wall are 6 inches, so perfect for running your ductwork if you have that small of ductwork. You also have these options in the ceiling. These guys here are 8-inch inner diameter. All the diameters I'm giving you in measurements are going to be inner diameters and inner spacing. You'll notice this back port here, they have a weird little fabric trim around them, so you're going to get anywhere between 3.5 to 4 inch opening. All of them are really close to 3.5. So I would say bank on 3.5, and you'll be pleasantly surprised if you got 4 inches. All of the support beams, they're all rated at 90 pounds. Again, when you get them yourself, if you get them, you're gonna be like, how could this be 90-pound rated? But that's what they say at the manufacturer.
In the instructions, what it wants you to do is just have this beam going across, one of these going this way, but they do give you 2 extra pieces that come across here. We just install them and it helps us out.
Yeah, flexibility is pretty awesome. So again, you got your 6-inch, your 8-inch, your 3.5 to 4-inch. You have your big back window that's about a 60% or 70% of the main front windows that are open here. So he's going to give you an example of what that back window looks like when it's open. So you can see there's pretty much isn't an area of your workspace that you cannot get to. There's even this whole wall basically on this side over here. This whole wall basically opens up. That's the biggest opening, so you can walk in and out from there. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but with this opening, this enclosure is perfect for like a modular setup. You can daisy chain these suckers with your vents. You can get really, into it with these.
I wouldn't just consider this your short-term solution if you don't have a lot of space. You could get a handful of these and set them up in a given way to daisy chain them across any size area you need. They work really well.
Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the bottom vents along the bottom here. So now one of the things too is you'll see it has this really neat feature that every port has an inner sleeve as well as an outer sleeve, which I don't know if you can see it, but this sleeve right here, so this sleeve can wrap around your ducting can go in. This sleeve can also wrap around your ducting and you cinch it down with these cinch ties. So again, it really helps with the light leak in and out and really sealing the room. We have these vents here. Oh well, this vent here is 8 inches, just like the one in the ceiling. These all along, there's 4 of them, 2 on the back wall, 1 on each side wall. These are all 13 by 5.5, so 13 inches long by 5.5 inches tall. Again, that back port, just like the one up on the top there, 4 inches to 3.5 inches. You're going to be looking at closer to 3.5. And here you can also see what they call their waterproof tray. It holds water really well. Right, we just watered, so you can see there was some residual water that ran out, and it's never have we found it to get under the tray.
Yeah. Attaches to the 4 posts. And you'll see a couple of these. You're putting this together if we got a couple situations where we built these corners and we find it's not positioned correctly and it just needs a half rotation. Some of these, you can probably see on this side, there's 2 different holes here for that little bearing to pop into. So if it looks like you screwed it all up, don't lose hope. Just push in that bearing and try to rotate it around. It's a really forgiving, even without, I wouldn't say the instructions were terribly specific, but it was user-friendly, I guess. You could just kind of lead yourself onto what the next step is by looking at the pictures.
Right, and again, so pretty much every vent size that we've gone over, 8 inches, 13 by 5.5, 6 here on the wall, 8 inches, 3.5. Again, all the back walls pretty much is duplicated on the right side of the room. Pretty sweet. As you can see, you might be able to see our duct coming out of the top, running out. Our intake on this side pulling fresh air from a vent that we have. So again, I hope we've helped answer some of your questions with the enclosure here. Thank you so much for watching another video from Uncle Betos. Stay tuned for more.
See, that's one. And that's the other one. See? Very, very, very bad build. Not good at all. This one's up. And this was sideways.